Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you here. XRP ledger surpasses Ethereum. We'll explain. Codius, it's alive. You're going to want to know it. We got Ripple, central banks. We got Ripple partners. We got Silicon Valley versus Silicon London. And how about this one? Will Ripple IPO in the US or somewhere else? And may it come sooner than any of us realize. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.22 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is sitting flat at the moment, but we're not judging. Bitcoin, 29,300 plus. Ethereum, 1844 and change. Tether market cap is 83.3 billion plus, excuse me. Number 5 spot, XRP at 62 cents, and we're sitting flat, up 1.4 on the 7-day, and let's be careful what we call progress. But you know what? It doesn't stop my enthusiasm, as you know. By the way, a little reminder from me here that it's linkto.com where you can get none other than all of these incredible products, but don't be sleeping on the idea of getting Ripple, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, this is unbelievable opportunity here to be able to get Ripple. Look at this right here. And you have to ask yourself, after seeing the news that we're going to see today, how much longer will you have the opportunity to get access to Ripple shares as SPVs for Link2's platform? Click the sponsor Link2 underneath the video and take advantage of the opportunity to get some of the best private equity in the world, because it won't last forever. Take a look at this. Yeah, I tell you, you have to address these sometimes. And thank goodness for Eleanor Terra, because we've got access to mainstream media who has access to be able to tap into these agencies and get the direct comments and quotes. Whale Chart reported here from somebody they had received information from. The SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce is being considered to replace Gary Gensler as the head of the regulatory agency, the SEC. I asked, maybe Eleanor Terra can help confirm this for us, and she did. And she basically said her source at the SEC laughed it off and said there's no way in heck that Biden administration, which is running for president again next cycle, is ever going to select a GOP appointee official to their Democratic cabinet. Yeah, that's how that goes. So, thank you to Eleanor for clearing that up. We don't have to be concerned about that happening. And listen, at this point in time, I mean, do we know how anybody at the SEC truly feels about what's going on in crypto? That's another video. All right, and then there's this right here. And look, before we get it, we're going to get into some really, really cool news that is very exciting to me, and I know it will be to you too. But I found this to be a great place to start before we get going here, and it's from Amelie, I believe, if I'm saying her name, and forgive me if I'm not, but it says XRP ledger surpasses Ethereum in daily transactions, hits 1.2 transactions per day. Come on in. I like it. Money goes where it flows the best, right? And it won't take long, because I believe that people are figuring it out, and it will just happen in mass over time. Now, I mentioned Codius in the opener, and for those of you new that don't know what Codius is, Codius was created by Stephen Thomas in the early days. It is a smart contract platform, and it is said to be like super, super smart and efficient. And he was asked here, thank you, David, has Ripple also completely abandoned Codius? Is anyone working on it to your knowledge? And David says here, the CTO of Ripple, I'm still trying to revive it. The technological pieces we were missing exist now, and I think there are some demonstrated market needs that it can address. I wish I could say more, but this is probably more than I should be sharing. Well, I tell you, if anybody could really tease something, David knows how to do it better than anybody, no doubt about it. And then here's a reminder, and listen, this is not actually new news, but I wanted to share this because it is relevant, as we know that XRP is not a security, right? AWS XRP Ledger looking for ways to use XRP for payments through Amazon panel. And you can see through this illustration here a reminder of just how big this can become. AWS, XRP, and the whole schematic laid out here, XRP network, nodes alike, you see it. Look, we're going to look at some really great information, and we're just starting here, so don't go anywhere. This is a reminder right here that New Zealand collaborates with Ripple on CBDCs using the XRP ledger, ladies and gentlemen. So another big step forward. I don't know of another network value protocol out here in the space that is doing and accomplishing such large value proposition partners for the network. I really don't. And I don't say that as a maximalist. I've been in this space a long time, and no one's doing exactly what I see to scale that Ripple is doing with the use of not only their products, but also the settlement asset XRP and the ledger itself. Right here, don't forget about the Australian CBDC pilot that former executive from Ripple, Dilip Rao, heads up. This is Caroline Bowler, who is from BTC Markets, who is hugely bullish on the technology of XRP and the ledger, by the way. And listen to what she says very quickly here.
The RBA, back in March, announced the pilot programs to test out CBDCs, right? And then big names like MasterCard jumped into the pool, ANZ, the Australian Bond Exchange. And I'm curious how all of this is impacting the crypto space right now in Australia. And, you know, when you expect something to come out with a CBDC, and your thoughts there.
So that's been a really interesting project, the whole CBDC project, you know, end to end, because of the, as you say, the institutions that have come in and to join alongside crypto, alongside payments, alongside traditional finance. So an absolute boon for both. What's also really good is the fact it happened in a bear cycle. I think if this had happened in a bull, it would have been an awful lot more noise and bluster around it. I think they've been given the opportunity to properly experiment, to properly run POCs. These aren't all going to work. That's the point. I think it creates a strengthened matrix for Australia in traditional finance and crypto as we move, you know, into the next, I suppose, the blockchain economy that is to come. Like, that's hugely beneficial. Probably.
It is hugely beneficial. The rest of the clip's great too, but we got a lot to go over, and I want to stay on a tight timeline. So this is, look, a couple things from this. One, I love how Caroline Bowler redirects and basically politely saying, well, let's not so much worry about crypto. Think about what it does for the payment space, the financial sector, because that has been the goal. Now, I have said this many times that crypto is going to be a very small percentage of a market of what we're talking about. What we're really after here is seeing a digital asset like XRP and the ledger serve the tokenization of the rest of the traditional markets. That's what we're talking about here, to me, at least anyway. And when I think about this, also remember as we move through the next few pieces of information that this is Australia and it's going to come back up in just a second. Just you wait. Stablecoin proof of reserves for Australian CBDC pilot here. Ripple and Stellar partner, Navati Payments. Shout out to Darren Moore for that. You see it right there. But let's keep moving. Oh, yeah. All eyes on crypto explosion in finance. And this is actually Caroline Bowler again, talking very closely about the UK, looking to UK for regulations. London's ready. I don't need to play that clip because I'm going to play you this one. I want you to watch till the end. Remember when Chris Larson went to London last year, I think in about May time frame? We may now know why he made the trip. And while you're looking at this information and listening here, Also think about what Raoul Pal is describing about the euro dollar market being recreated by all the central players in that market. By the way, that is a quadrillion-dollar market, hundreds and thousand or more trillion-dollar market there. What we're talking about is what he's talking about here is replicating that exact scenario for digital assets. And it'll certainly be ones with use cases, I would imagine, like XRP. But take a listen to what he says here.
The UK says, forget it, we'll do it. It became what's known as the Eurodollar market, which is the overseas market for dollar borrowing and lending. That becomes we don't know the size of it, but let's call it a $400 trillion market.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then the US, then we get this big breakthrough in derivatives. The US has got the Chicago Board of Trade doing futures and options and all of this stuff. But we start to figure out more complicated structures, things like swaps. And the US stops its banks doing it by its use of regulatory capital. They're like, no, this is inefficient. You can't do this. The UK and Europe went, well, we're going to regulate and allow it to happen because it's big. We've seen this before. That becomes a quadrillion-dollar market. All the major banks, largest operations for London. So London, if you've been watching the news, is going to do the same thing. It's called regulatory arbitrage. London is putting together a very sensible set of crypto rules, as has Europe, as has Switzerland, as has Singapore, as has Hong Kong, as has Australia. Okay, there's its old trading group that it did with Eurodollars and it did with derivatives and it did with foreign exchange, all got their regulations in place. The UK is the hub at the middle and it will capture the lion's share. And before you know it, Coinbase, Gemini, and everybody will move to London.
And isn't it timely that just about a year ago, Chris Larsen himself from Ripple was over in London because London is looking to pull more business and capital from the U.S. How timely it is.
The focus of this trip, though, is money.
Good to see you, sir.
Next stop, a billionaire round table.
So Silicon Valley, London have a lot in common.
Fair to say these tech big hitters could lose $1 million down the back of the sofa and barely notice. The aim? To prize investments away from the Bay Area and over to its biggest tech competitor, Silicon London.
And there you have it right there. You know, all of these pieces coming together, ladies and gentlemen. Everything for Global Crypto Hub starts in Silicon London. And could that possibly mean that we see a IPO for Ripple outside of the US? There's no need for Ripple to wait. 95% of their customers are outside of the US. It wouldn't be surprising to see the SEC try to play hostage to an IPO here in the States, but that doesn't mean that actually Ripple has to play along with that, now does it? Now, while we're hearing Raoul Pal talking about the recreation of like a euro dollar market hub between all the players, for which he mentioned Australia as one of them, think of it for a moment. Think of that institutional flow coming into the space and pumping real utility and liquidity into the system. Well, something very special has happened on the charts according to Crypto Insight UK. And this is what he sees right here. I'm going to go back to the actual tweet before we click into it here. I've cleared my schedule. I say let's go. He says here, and this gentleman, this young man, Will, is very sharp with charts. He's been recognized by Raoul Pal's Real Vision and many others. But let me tell you, this is the first time, he says, we have seen this for XRP in 5 years. Pay very close attention that this is an XRP compared to Bitcoin chart on the monthly time frame has reclaimed the 20 and 50 SMA. Now that's, look, not only this, but it is also wicked back to the 50 SMA to test it as support. If we continue to hold out for the month, for the rest of the month, the last time we saw a bullish claim of these two SMAs on the monthly time frame was 2017. the biggest bull run in XRP history. The question now is, will history repeat? And could we see a few pieces of new history being made with all of these players mentioned by Raoul Pal firing up their position to be able to take advantage of digital assets inside of the financial system? Could the movement of that, plus maybe the Bitcoin halving in April, support all of what's coming? I tell you, it is quite promising to watch this very closely. Again, we want to see, as he suggested here, this candle stay above both of these averages, the 50 and 20. And we've not seen that in 5 years. Now, I'm not a charts guy, and this guy's not predicting anything. He's just showing that there is a repeat playing out what we saw in 2017. If it continues, could we see 66,400% gains that I watched happen in real time in 2017 again? I don't know the answer, and I know he doesn't either, but he's telling all of us we better watch closely just in case it does. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.